Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV. Thank you so much for tuning in recently. Today we have Elena, Charlotte and Yannicka joining us talking about women's football. How are you all doing?
All good, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we were just saying, like, we can't, well, some of us can't wait for 2021. Charlotte's can't wait for 2025. Like,
Mate, I'll take 5 years older being able to do whatever the hell I want again. I'm never going to take clubbing for granted ever again. Going out to a rave, nothing, not even a house party. I'm not even taking a house party for granted anymore. Like
true,
ever.
Yeah. Look, raves are going to be bigger than ever when they're open again, aren't they? It'll be like a 24-hour bender. Do you know what I mean?
And festivals.
Yeah, they all are anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't last 2 weeks at a festival, to be fair, so that wouldn't be good for me.
Oh.
Someone actually said, though, they understand, because the last time we had a pandemic like this was like 1918 or whatever. And they said that, I think it was 1919 actually, and then they said that the next year, like the next century was like the Roaring 20s. So it'll be like that again, because people will appreciate going out more.
Yeah.
Like now you just feel like, oh no, I can't bother going out tonight. I'll go out another night. And then now it's like you've not had that option for like a year.
Yeah.
So now it's like people will probably be going out for the sake of going out.
100%.
Yeah, literally.
You'll have people at restaurants just like standing at the bar drinking, being like, a club. Like, Prezzo is like,
you'll actually be able to do that. You'll actually be able to do that. You won't just have to sit down and drink.
I didn't like that. I mean, I understand like the dangers and the fact that you're trying to keep safe, but I just didn't like it. Like, I just love going to the bar and standing there and saying hello to everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, cheers. Do you know what I mean? Like, just don't get that anymore. Let's go on to the topic of women's football, and you said about this show, about doing this show, and I thought it was a really good idea because a lot of people get abused, especially women. Let's put that out there right now. What do you make of this, and what do you think can be changed on socials to stop this happening? Because it just seems ridiculous. Like the stuff that I see as well it's just wrong. It's 2020. We shouldn't be saying these sorts of things.
I think it's kind of become a little bit normal at the minute. Like, I don't want that to sound horrible, but it's become quite normal for any female football fan who voices her opinion on football to get absolutely slandered. And I think I've been told that I belong in the kitchen to go kill myself, that I'm a slut, a slag, a whore, like so many times. It just doesn't bother me anymore. Like, that sounds bad, but it doesn't faze me anymore. But like, it's unacceptable. But then again, if you look at it as a fan perspective, like these men, the men come out with worse things than the women do. We're just trying to voice our opinion on a football match. They're there slagging off players left, right and centre. And they're being told, yeah, good job, yeah. Like Werner out, or like, I don't know, Martinelli out. I don't know, like all these things. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're like, yeah, actually Werner out. And then you're like, you're a slag. Why the hell are you saying this? Like, but I don't understand it. It's confusing to me. Like, jog on.
Would you agree with that, Yannicka? Do you think, like, agreeing with Charlotte there, it's just when you say something that pretty much everybody else is saying, just because you're a woman, for some reason that deserves abuse from people, and that's, to me, completely wrong.
I feel like that's, if you say something that they don't like, that's the first thing they jump to, like, I'll get back in the kitchen. You see it even with like female commentators and hosts, you know what I mean? Like, for me, Alex Scott is one of the best in the game, male or female. And she still gets comments about, oh, she's only got the job because she's a woman, because she's pretty, and it's just like, actually, she's more knowledgeable than most of the men, if we're being honest. And for me, like, I get some people that will say, it's not about disagreeing. Obviously, if I disagree with a female's opinion, I can do that. I don't have to agree because it's a woman. But it's just the sort of tactics that they use to disagree with that is always like, well, you don't know anything. I don't really get a lot of abuse for some reason. I don't know why. People are obviously not that interested in me. But, but I have had, back in the day, like, oh, what's the offside rule? All of that sort of stuff. You always get that, or name 5 players from City, or
All the time.
you always get that. That's just a female response that men tend to use. And it's just weird. It's always been there. And I think now, because women are coming out and doing live shows and stuff, you're more likely to see it. Whereas before, they'd probably just make that comment. You wouldn't necessarily hear it, or you might miss it on your comments or whatever. So I think now, you know, people can directly engage with women, you know. Big up people like Anita, who started Gold Diggers. You know, they're doing a lot in this sort of thing. And I think people feel maybe threatened, and maybe that's why. But it's ridiculous, some of the abuse that some of the girls are getting on here. It's just like, it's mad.
Would you agree with that, Elena? Like, if you had similar things happen to you, and like, how has it affected you doing what you like to do the most?
I mean, I get it a lot, and I feel like it's because I'm quite outspoken. I mean, the things I don't hold back. Like, and I mean, I take it with a pinch of salt. Like Charlotte said, it's sad that I'm kind of like expecting it. Like, I say things that I know people aren't going to like, but that's my opinion, and I'm not going to hold back. But like, I expect a load of abuse when I say it. And it's like, now I'm just like, yeah, I'll just block it out. And that's horrible to say. And I mean, I get like horrible stuff said to me when I say certain things, or because I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to hold back. Like, if I feel something, I'm going to say it. And it's like, I watch the same game as you. I've studied the same game as you. Like, I'm not going to hold back because you think that I'm a different gender to you, that I don't understand the game. I mean, I used to get it in life as well. Like, I would have a conversation with someone, and they will literally try to ask you a question that is literally so belittling that I won't answer. Like, name me a team, name me your favorite player from Spurs, and then don't let it be Bale or Kane, like something like that. And I'm like, I mean, well, if it is Bale or if it is Kane, shut up. Doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. But I always have to like answer it with like a clever way, so they know I know what I'm talking about. I shouldn't have to sit there and think, right, how do I answer this question? Like, it's very annoying when, as a female, you have to sit there and think, oh yeah, like, well, how do I say this? Oh, hi. how do I say this? Like, how do I answer this question with it being, you know, good enough? And like, it's annoying. I'm not going to answer, name me 5 players from Spurs. Tell me the offside rule. I'm not going to answer these questions because I just think that's belittling. And I just say, have a conversation with me before you realise that I don't know about football.
Big up to Jem there in the comments, shouting out all you lot.
Jem.
Hi, Jem.
Happy New Year to you, Jem and Ads on GNA TV, and Neats as well.
Oh,
Big up.
hi.
Yeah, you know what? It kind of reminds me of like the American thing. You know how people from England, especially, are like, Americans don't know football, and that they get asked the same questions, like, you know, like, what's the offside ball, you know, and you know that you don't have like a penalty bin for players, you know what I mean, like ice hockey. But yeah, like it's a similar thing. Like, they get it a lot. I know a lot of American people know a lot about football, a lot more than some of the people that I even speak to, and even me myself, I'm like, wow, like that's what I like about it, is the fact that you're not judging someone just because of where they're from or their gender. Just judge them on what they know. And yeah, like asking you, like, you know, pick a player, but not Kane or not Bale, and it's just ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
they are probably your club. You probably will pick them, you know.
Yeah, or it's like, name me 5 players. I hate this. Name me 5 players. Name me your starting 11. What numbers do they wear? These are the sort of questions that you get, and you're like, are you serious?
Like, literally. It's so.
Ask a male that question.
But I feel like they ask us it. It's like they expect us not to know anything. It's like a woman just says she supports a team because she supports a team, and it's nothing like that at all. Or they're like, I think I've been told I support a team because I think all the players are fit. That's genuinely what I've been told. And I'm like, it's genuinely not. Like, I go back to, like, I support Chelsea, and I go back to like Dennis Wise.
Yeah.
Like, that's years ago. Like, don't play me. Like, don't play me at this. But I feel like a lot of this is stemmed from Twitter. Like, I think if you didn't have Twitter, it probably wouldn't be this bad. But you've got all these kids that aren't being raised right, and I'm not even going to hold back now. They're not. Their mamas are not raising them right. Fun fact. Because if they're trolling and speaking to women with that kind of disrespect and thinking it's acceptable, then their mums are not raising them right. Because I'm not going to lie, if my mum heard my brother had even said something like that, she'd smash his phone and she would literally take away everything from him. Like everything. Like she would not play that way. Like, and my brother would be too scared to do that anyway. He knows better. But like if people are being raised that way, that it's like an acceptable in society that you can say shit over Twitter that like is unacceptable, then people are going to think it's normal. But look at the Karen Carney incident that happened at Leeds. And now Leeds have had to retract their tweet. Even Leeds Football Club joined in. They tweeted a tweet that was just unacceptable. Like, don't come for me when it's banter, when it's not banter. Like, you started the Karen Carney incident. You didn't have to tweet that. And you're the reason, Leeds Football Club are the reason she got worse hate than she would have got. And that's a fact. Because if they hadn't tweeted and made like, well, I think it got like 40,000 likes. If those 40,000 people hadn't seen it, would they have done that if Leeds hadn't tweeted it? And that's the question, because some people don't help themselves. And you see footballers tweeting out as well that don't help themselves either. And that's the problem. Like, you don't... That people don't help the situation. They make it a lot worse than it needs to be.
Yeah, agreed. Look, what's the difference, Yannicka, from like when you were growing up, say, talking about football, to what Charlotte said about Twitter being involved now? Do you think it's a really big difference? Do you think people are a bit more open now because they can hide behind their computer screen and say whatever they want? But in real life, when you're talking to people about football, they kind of like don't want to come out and say it. Like Elena said, you just come straight out the cage, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think Twitter's a lot easier. Like, even people like Alex Scott, I don't think she would get that abuse in person. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just because it's on Twitter, they can kind of directly get to her. Whereas, obviously, they have to go and find her if it was outside. So they're not going to do that. It's when I was a kid, like, you did get them comments like, oh, who do you support? Obviously, I supported City, so it was the shit. That's what I got. You know, and a lot of the girls in my year supported Man United because of Ronaldo, and it was because of Ronaldo, and they did know nothing about football. And you know, it was very like, if you ask them a question like, who's your favorite player, they were saying things like Ronaldo when he wasn't there anymore. So like for them, it was obviously like, you know, for that reason only. But yeah, they ask them sort of questions, but it's not. I think Twitter just allows them, you know, rate threats and stuff like that. You wouldn't get that face to face. You know, I've had a death threat in my face at a football game though, but that was a derby and it was a Man United fan, so it was a slightly different situation.
Of course, it was a Man U fan.
But yeah, he was in my face and he was like, "Die, bitch," or something. I was like, "What?" Like, it's just mad to me because I've never had that before. But that game was the semi-final at Wembley, you know, when Yaya scored. But even before, that was before the game. It was just mad. That game was mad. There was people throwing glass bottles, just like attacking City fans randomly. But I think there was a lot of hooligans there that game.
That sounds River Plate. That sounds brutal.
Yeah, it's just that one game. I've not really... Because I've not really experienced much abuse. Like, even when I've been home, away, I go away games on my own a lot. And I've just not had anything. But I know that's just because the City fan base they're quite like a little bit of a family. So, like, even when I go there, I see people that I've seen before, they're always like, hi. You know what I mean? So it's cool. But obviously, with opposition fans, you get the hate and you get, obviously, comments and stuff. And I think it's just... I think Twitter just allows people to get to people more, you know, because even YouTube comments, like if you don't check them, you don't know what's being said.
There you go. Someone's being
Yeah, and most of my friends are United fans. It's not a thing, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just Twitter just allows people to get closer to people than they would normally. And obviously, a lot of these kids are young kids, probably 12, 13. They're not going to say that to an adult female. They're not going to say that. So it's just, you know, them little comments and stuff. Really, for me, I just think if you don't know them personally, it shouldn't be, you know, as annoying as it is. It's just like they're trying to get to you. They're trying to get attention. They probably fancy you. and that's why they're trying to attack you in that way. So it's just, but it's madness. It is madness.
I never get abused, so I'm going to say that I'm not fancied by anyone. That's great. Elena,
That's the thing with me.
would you agree with that, Elena? What do you think can be changed on the fact that social media plays such an important role these days to people's opinion?
I just think people need to realize that there is no difference in the fact that you're watching a football game and I'm watching a football game. I have your brain isn't bigger on football than mine. Like, there is nothing different. I'm watching the same thing you are. Like, they will say to me, "You've never played." Okay, I haven't played, but have you? A lot of men haven't played either. Like, just because you're a man and you've not played or you've played football, doesn't make your knowledge 10 times better than mine. I mean, you're not pro, so it didn't change anything. Like, it's just it just shows to me that they need to realize that just because I'm a different gender to you doesn't mean that I can't judge the game the way you can in the same manner or to that extent. Because they will say to me stuff like, "Oh, you're outspoken for a female." I mean, it shouldn't be for a female. Like, I'm outspoken because I
a fan
for the game and I know what I'm talking about. So I am going to say what I feel. I think it's hard. I understand. It's bad to say. I understand more of like the older generation because I get that it's a bit different. Like, being Greek and stuff, and like if I go to like family parties and whatever, and like there are like older men there, and they're like, if they speak to me about football and like they don't believe me, my dad just like sits there smiling and he's like, just wait till she gets started like that. And then they're always like in Greek, some guy was like to me once, "Well, look at Elena, she knows more than my sons," like in Greek. And I was like, yeah, so that should change your mind before you sit there and like judge another female. I've had someone say to me at a house party once, this was like a younger just a younger guy, one of my friends. He was like, "I can't believe I'm talking about football with someone that has long hair." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And this guy said to me that Lallana used to play for us, when I think he meant Lamella. So I was a bit like, he didn't know Arteta was Arsenal manager. This was the day of the FA Cup final.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, because I was like Team Frank. I was like Team Fat Frank, right? And he was like to me, "Oh, who is that?" And I was like, "Are you joking?" Like, but no one around would have questioned his knowledge until he got it wrong. So it's like I got questioned when I'm sitting there knowing everything, and he didn't get questioned until he said, "Oh, you have that Lallana guy playing for you," and I was like, "What?" So yeah, it's just quite annoying that like he didn't get no disrespect until he said that, whereas me, it was like you straight away get your nose turned up until you prove yourself.
Yeah, like, that's absolutely madness. Like, get your facts right if you're going to try and pull somebody out. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
What I was going to say with that is, like you say, even if you made that mistake, say like you got your words mixed up and you said, but you meant Lamella, but you said Lallana.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that happens sometimes. Like, I've been on the stream and I was like, you know, when you're nervous, like your first show, and I've said like, I can't remember, I've got two players mixed up, but I didn't get them mixed up in my head. It's just what came out was different. I think I said Thiago Silva instead of Thiago Alcantara, like the same name, but it's just different.
Yeah.
And it's like when a girl does that, it's like, see, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Whereas a guy does it, it's like, oh yeah, you know what you meant.
Yeah, you can't make a mistake.
Whereas a guy can say something completely bizarre, which has nothing to do with it, and like, you know, say the wrong player played for a club, and it's just like, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? So I do agree with Elena in what she's saying. You have to be like on point with your opinions, because if you're not, it's like, oh, you're a woman, that's why. Do you know what I mean? It's bad, but that's just how it is.
Agree with that, Charlotte? Like, have you got any sort of examples as well of like silly comments that you've had and you kind of thought like, there you go, you've made yourself look stupid right now?
Literally, people make themselves look stupid. Like, I've chatted to people before, and they're like, I was chatting to some of my mates recently. We're all just having a conversation about like Chelsea, and some of them support Arsenal, and I was just calling me out, and they started chatting about how Aubameyang was this great man, like getting all the goals this season, and I was like, "Han, you know, Martinelli's been better than Aubameyang and Lacazette put together, you know," and they're like, "Yeah, but," and I'm like, "Statistically, he has." And I start banging. I was like showing him all these facts, and he's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he is," and I'm like, "Nah, it's not maybe he is. It's factually he is. Like, factually he is. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, I just, it's annoying because I don't think Twitter helps the situation. Because I've reported shit before, and Twitter's like, "Oh, it doesn't class as like any abuse," and I'm like, so we get called a slut slag, or get told to die, like, or go back to the kitchen, and none of this is Twitter approved. Like, Twitter, you can get away with it on Twitter, but if let me tell you now, if another man did this to another man, Twitter would ban them. Twitter would ban them, no problem. Like,
So
not even an issue.
Why do you think, though? Why do you think no one's doing anything about it? We can all see that that's the problem, and the fact there's nothing being done about it. Similar to the thing, you know, like, there's not enough being done about that either, is there?
But every time it gets brought up, you get so much slander for it, and like these companies get so much slander. Like, the BBC got slander for putting Alex Scott on for presenting. Like, they got so much slander. Like, they were like, the BBC are like, they were just literally slagging off the BBC just for putting a woman who's probably won more trophies than a lot of their teams, like, put together, like, and they're still slagging her off. Like,
she had to leave Sky, didn't she? There was something with her and Graham Souness was there. Yannicka, I don't know if you remember that. He said something about her punditry is a bit wrong, I think.
He's a twat.
Yeah, well, do you know what? A lot of these men, like Elena says, the older generation, they probably have these views and they're kind of stuck in these views. So they might, you know, I think even some of them, it'll be hard for them to agree with her, you know. And I know Steph Horton, she's not a pundit, but she's been on quite a few times and she's really good as well. There's quite a few women who, they know what they're talking about. They've won almost every trophy there is to win. Do you know, any girl that's been at Lyon has won the Champions League. They win it every year. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you've got men who have won 1-2 Premier League titles trying to talk to women who have won 8 a Champions League, you know, however many FA Cups. Like, it's mad. And, you know, when it comes to men, it's, well, he's won this. But when it's her, it's like, oh, well, yeah, she's won that, but she's a woman. Like, it shouldn't matter. Do you know what I mean? She's been there, done that. She's played football. She knows what she's talking about. And anyone that argues with that, clearly they don't know they don't know their football. Because she, to me, I don't really listen to pundits and stuff. I prefer to go to games if I can. And don't have that much time outside to watch like other games and stuff. So I don't always listen to what they've got to say. But every time I've heard her, she's never said anything that's made me think, oh yeah, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So it's just the fact that she's a woman that she's getting abused. There's no other reason for it. Obviously, there's a little bit of racism in there as well, which you always get. But it's just, you know, there's no reason for you to kind of come and like attack her for any reason. Do you know what I mean? And even the pundits themselves, they might sit next to her, but you don't know if they have them same views that's on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a mess. I think things will get better. I think Twitter is, like we say, the worst place for it because people can directly attack you. But at the same time, I think things will get better because, like, even this podcasting thing, there wasn't women in it. That's probably why I didn't start mine, because I've wanted to do this for a long time, but I thought, you know, there's not really anyone to do it with. I didn't want to do it on my own, and there wasn't women around. So, you know, I like obviously started now, but there's so many women in it. Like every day I'm seeing a new YouTuber woman. So I think things will get better, but I think we just got to kind of break through. Obviously, Gold Diggers, they were the first all-female panel. So obviously that's breaking down these barriers. And then hopefully in the future, it'll just be normal. You know, young kids seeing this might think, oh, I'll do it. Do you know what I mean? And then it'll just become the norm. And then hopefully these sort of opinions will kind of fizzle out. But I think it's just trying to break down the barriers to get to where we need to be.
Agreed. Would you
But
agree with?
I also think that Alex Scott gets a lot of hate by a lot of people because she is so good.
Yeah.
Like she is so good at what she does that I think some of the older pundits are actually threatened by her. Well, I mean, I personally would be if I was like, apart from like, yeah, I really would be threatened by her because she actually knows what she's talking about and she does a good job. Like she doesn't mess up, and I think they're threatened by her as well. Like I'm not saying it's acceptable to do it, but I mean, she's good at what she does and she doesn't mess up.
Got a great comment here, actually. A lot of people don't even realise they're being sexist. Unconscious bias is probably worse because there's no self-awareness for change. Big up, girls. Would you agree with that, Elena?
You're on mute.
You've muted yourself.
You mute.
Elena, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. No.
We'll have to get subtitles.
We can't hear you.
Jump back up and jump back in if you can.
Jump in and then jump back in.
We're just reading the lips. I think I can read what you're saying. There we go. So, answer for that then, Charlotte, while she's sorting it out. What do you make of the comment below? It's pretty good, right?
I think it's so true. Like, respect to that. Like, it is true. Like, some people don't realize it, and it just comes out. Like, it's so disgusting that it is like that. And he's right. There is no self-awareness for change, and like that's disgusting. Like women should be just as equal as men. Like, let me tell you now, if you were to look at the women's Arsenal team compared to the men's Arsenal team, these women players on fire. If you look,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you look
to Mel, by the way, just
is that Mel? Cool.
Yeah.
Even if you look at the Chelsea women's team compared to the Chelsea men's team, look at the Chelsea women's team. You've got Sam Kerr like banging in goals, Fran Kirby, Beth England. Like the women's teams are on fire at the minute. The Man U women's team, Tobin Heath, Christian Pest, Millie Turner, like Ella Toon. Like these women are on fire at the minute. And like, if you look at every single women's team right now, every single one of them is better than the men's, personally, in my opinion, right now. Even the Spurs women team, like, they are on fire. Like, why can't we just accept that women are bloody decent at what they do? Because let me tell you, there are, like, who's Vivian Miedemira in Arsenal? She is literally a boss. Like, that woman gets like 20 plus goals every season. Like, and where's the accountability? Aubameyang gets 20 goals every season. The accountability, yeah, he's got the golden boot. Yeah, he's the best. Vivian gets it, and it's just like no acknowledgement. But her goals are way better than his.
You've seen that video of the girl playing football and she falls over, and she's like her knees come out of place.
Oh.
She's smacking it. She's just fallen over.
I've seen this. This literally makes me feel sick every time.
To get on with the game, and then they show a clip of Neymar rolling around because he's been trodden on the toe, the big toe. You know what I mean? He's like, no, bring on the paramedics. And you kind of like, that just shows you like how strong and powerful women are
But men are so dramatic. Men have an absolute knack for diving. Look at Firmino. Let's see Aubameyang, best diver in the world, in my opinion. Best diver in my world. No. Wait, I take that back. Maybe Mo Salah. Maybe, you know what? Aubameyang and Mo Salah can take first place for divers of the world. They need an Oscar or a Grammy for that shit. Like, and women don't dive unless they're actually like they actually get hit. Like, how is this? How does it work? Like, the fact that women are like badasses and like the men like don't even get touched. Ronaldo dives, Messi dives, Neymar dives, Mbappe dives. Like all these big ass players that dive, that are winning, like that are actually like getting paid like what, like 450k a week for diving. These women are getting paid like 137k a week for playing football? How does this work?
It's our vocab. Like you hear that thing like men are as hard as nuts and people who aren't hard are pussies. But I'd switch that around. Women can give birth like through the vagina. It's a very thing.
We are badass. Men are just Mets. I'm not saying all men, but the main footballing men: Aubameyang, Mo Salah, Firmino. I'm going to list some now. Like I'm in the mood. Grealish is a great one. I mean, some of our players used to dive as well. I'm not even coming for you. Like half the Liverpool team knows how to dive. Half the Liverpool team know how to dive. Half the Aston Villa team know how to dive. The majority of the Arsenal team, definitely, the first thing they're taught when you come into the Arsenal Academy is how to dive. That's it. That's preaching there. Arsenal and Liverpool academies, you know how to dive. That is a Grammy Award shit that they teach you there. Like, and if a woman... Now, if a woman tried to do like a Mo Salah or a Aubameyang dive, they'd be like, "Oh, this is like so petty." Like, "Oh yeah, they're like hiding stuff." But the minute a guy does a dive, they're like, "Yeah, penalty, VAR."
I'm just sitting here. I'm not speaking.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Son and Kane do dive as well. Like, they're I think Son's worse than Kane though. Like, at least. Well, I mean, I feel like Son's worse. If Son's on his own and he's just playing without Kane on, I think he's worse.
Yeah,
but when they're both on,
but he's so cute.
When they're both on together, it's like, who's gonna dive first?
Do you know what I'm going to say about that though? It's crazy.
I can't even deny it.
Yeah, Shu, it's your turn. Your turn to dive.
I was going to say, like, when I know Aguero, when he first joined the league, he never used to dive. Like, even that title winning thing, he never used to dive. And then now, he does dive now. But it's not, I don't think it's because he actually wants to dive. I think it's because in this football game at the moment, if you don't dive, you don't get anything. So if you stay on your feet, the chance is gone and you don't get anything. So even though I agree with what everyone's saying, obviously, there are people like Mo Salah, he's very theatrical in his diving. It's not just I fell over. It's proper. It's
Oscar awards. Yeah, it's Oscar award winning.
He is very dramatic in the way he dives and stuff like that. I think sometimes some players feel like they have to do it, even if they're not a natural diver. You know, they feel like they have to, which is a shame. Because I think football's better when people don't have to dive. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think personally.
I'd rather, players stay on their feet and try and get to it, and it makes it more exciting. I've seen it a few times as well when you go, why didn't you just stay on your feet and carry on going? You would have scored a goal.
Yeah.
And then you give the penalty because I saw you dive, you moron. Like,
because they're men. They're men. They're like, let's do some diving. Yeah, dive. Oh, is that the time? It's diving. Hold on. Let me just get my diving practice in. Like, and every team does it. And I don't know why. Like, it doesn't even have to be contact. Like, and especially now we've got VAR in. Like, VAR, man, gets me so mad. Like, so mad. I want to get VAR, rip it out the computer, throw it away into the big sea and jog on. Because let me tell you, half the like Mo Salah dives and the Aubameyang dives that go down, if without VAR, would not have been called as penalties. Yeah. Not. It's because of VAR that like by like a tiny like half a centimeter that it's like a goal. Like, to me it's just pointless. Like I feel like women are playing more real football than men are. Like, women's football is actually something I enjoy to watch. However much I support Chelsea and like I'll support football forever, but men's football is becoming a lot less appetite, like exciting for me, like, because it's just it's like yellow card, red card, VAR, like dive, penalty. Like, it's not as exciting without VAR. Like, at least without VAR there was real football being played, and I feel like people are working on VAR at the minute. A lot of footballers are playing on the VAR card. Because VAR are just giving penalties left, right, and centre. Like, there is so many like penalties that, like, if you're jumping in the air and it touches your arm should not be classed as a penalty. If your arms are like this, like tucked in, and it touches your arm, that's not a fucking penalty. How is that a penalty? The guy's kicked the ball at you and you've just jumped as you usually would to defend it. You're not just going to stand there and be like, yeah, go on, mate. You just have that goal. Go on. Yeah, no, I'll just give you that goal. You jump to defend your goal, like, and people are getting goals like that. And like, there's so, like, if we talk about, I really don't want to talk about this, but I'm going to now. The Arsenal-Chelsea game. Let's talk about the Arsenal-Chelsea game. Firstly, the penalty, not a penalty. Way too soft. Secondly, the free kick, way too soft. But these were both given. Thank you, VAR, you wanker. But like, it's little things like that that can define a match.
Well, do you think diving is a refereeing issue? Because sometimes when there's contact and a player doesn't go down, a foul isn't given. Would you agree with that, Elena?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like Yannicka said, it's the way of the game at the moment. If you don't go down, you won't get it. And it's like, yeah, sometimes there are times where a player can stay on their feet. I mean, I always remember the Kane Leicester goal where he was like falling over and he still managed to get the goal. If they called that back as a penalty, I'd probably be very annoyed. But he was 100% fouled. But sometimes you have to go down to gain the penalty, even if you are like, it's a very soft foul. At the moment, it's a very grey area as to what is the fine line, like what's a foul and what's a dive at the moment. Any contact is kind of a penalty at the moment, especially if it's in the box. The handball rule, Spurs have been burned with that a few times. I don't even need to go into it, but the Newcastle game when Dyer's got his back to the ball and his arms in the air and somehow that was given, then they changed the rule. Lucas Moura falling over and it hit his arm, then that was given last season. So yeah, the handball rule has definitely got a problem. I think the contact in the box, it's very hard to, I don't know if I'm saying this because I'm a Spurs fan and because Kane does it, but I do feel like I do feel like he does it because if you don't go down, you won't get it, and other teams will go down. If they do that on the other side, in our box, it's a penalty, so I'll do it. I think the way of the game is quite soft at the moment. VAR is definitely killing a lot of, the hard tackles, a lot of the things that make it gritty and fun. VAR is kind of killing it a bit. Obviously, I'm sitting here, got to a Champions League final due to VAR, so I have to have some.
And then bottled.
Sorry, Yannicka.
I'm not a fan of VAR, obviously.
Obviously, it is killing a bit of the game. I think that it's killing it at the same time, but then we have to take the same energy when it's for us. So, like Newcastle, when they got the penalty, Steve Bruce said, we don't like this sort of penalty being given. And that's the sort of energy you've got to see from managers when they are getting the results, getting the good things happen to them. That shouldn't be. So I do think there needs to be some form of change throughout the FA because it is ridiculous at the moment.
Would you agree
I think at the January transfer window, they should like set out rules that are like factual and like maybe even do a diagram so people aren't that like, because I feel like the referees do get confused because VAR tells them one thing and then they see another. Whereas I think that if you had like a rules or like even a diagram for the referees, Anthony Taylor, I feel like you could specifically state like you need certain diagrams of how the players lift their arms and like what is acceptable to not give. If it's not on purpose, why is it being given? Like not all footballs that touch an arm should be given because some of them you just can't help it. And if you can't help it, how are you supposed to punish someone for doing their job but not being able to help it? If someone kicks the ball and it lands on their arm when they're jumping, how is that their fault if their arms are tucked in? Like,
yeah, I agree.
There are certain things that
Champions
need to be...
League final, everyone. Sissoko, handball. I don't need to go into that, but I hit him here. If anyone wants to argue with me, I will do that till the end of my time.
Would you agree with Yannicka, what everyone's saying? Do you think it's difficult to deal with handballs with VAR and you don't mean to, you do mean to? How can you tell the difference between the two?
Yeah, because it used to be deliberate handball. which was, I get that. If you're putting your hand up and you're stopping it with your hand, that's a deliberate handball. If you're jumping up, you know, like was said earlier, like if you're jumping up and it hits your arm and because realistically right now as a footballer, you could take a free kick and aim for someone's hand, knowing you'll get a penalty. So if you don't think you're going to score the free kick, say it's too far out, just aim for someone's hand in the box. Do you know what I mean? Which is stupid that you can do that because you shouldn't be able to. But I've seen the craziest decisions over the years. Like I remember one time, I think it was, I think it might have been Micah Richards, and we were away at Anfield, and he fell on the floor in the box and put his hands down next to his body, and a Liverpool player kicked the ball at his hand on the floor, and they gave a penalty. And it's like, where is he supposed to fall like that and put his hands up? Like a natural position would have been next to his body. And so I've seen crazy decisions over the years, and that's why I wanted VAR, because I thought VAR would come in, see that he was on the floor and he's foul and it's natural, and overrule the penalty. But they're not doing that. If anything, they're giving more penalties away. Like, I'm not saying that City weren't at fault, but we had 3 penalties given against us in that Leicester game. And it's like, I'm not sure if they didn't have VAR that we would have got, maybe we would have got 1 or 2, you know, obvious ones. But it's like 3 in one game is mad. Like, I can't remember a City game where we've ever been given 3 penalties before. Like, that to me is crazy. And I think sometimes, like, we've had games back in the day where you'd get 1 penalty decision and then you wouldn't get the next. It was kind of like, you've had your penalty now, that's it. Whereas now it's like you could have 3 in a game. You know, to me, that's just crazy. And I think VAR, I don't like VAR because when I've been in the stadium, you can't even celebrate a goal anymore. Yeah. Because I celebrated that goal against Tottenham. And we celebrated it, and it was, honestly, it felt like ages. Because obviously we didn't know about VAR because we were in the stadium.
Oh, you don't have the abuse that Ericsson was given in my house at that point, at that moment. I was so angry.
But it's crazy though, because it ruins the game, because you want to celebrate. But like, I used to, like, when I've been at games, like, I'd look at the linesman and then celebrate, because I always was paranoid they'd be offside. But now it's like, you can look at the linesman, his flag's down, celebrate, and then 3 minutes later, oh, by the way, VAR ruled it out. It's just, I think it needs to go. I don't think it's making the game fun. Obviously, there's a little bit of mistakes in a referee. You know, there is always going to be a little bit of bias, a little bit of preference in a referee as a person. But now we've got, instead of 1 bias, we've got 4 or 5, because you've got 3 people in the control room. And if they, say, for example, 2 of them are United fans, 1 of them is a Spurs fan, and the referee is an Arsenal fan, and it's a Man City decision, I'm not sure that they're going to see it as, oh, let's just give it, you know, and unless it's obvious, they're not going to give it. You know, I wouldn't, if I'm in a control room with 2 other City fans and it's a United decision, it's very minimal, we're probably going to say, oh, it's minimal. Whereas if it's City, I'm more likely to be like, yeah, it's minimal, but we need to give it. So even without thinking, your unconscious bias will tell you, oh, it's minimal. When, you know, and that won't be the difference. And I think, I don't know, for me, it's just like, it's ruining the game for me, I think. And the actual concept of it is not too bad, but it's the way that it's being used.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that, Yannicka. I'm going to bring in an Arsenal fan now. Big Gunner. Going to come and join us.
You're right. How's everyone doing?
Hi. Yeah, good. How you doing?
I'm still on my lunch break, so I'm here for like half an hour.
Wow.
Well, we're not going to go on too long, Big Gunner, but, you know, thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about VAR. We're talking about,
it's trash.
Has it been good for the game? Has it not been? You know, giving handballs. Can you tell the differences between, like, you know, someone deliberately doing a handball and then, like Yannicka said, just kicking the ball at somebody when they're down on the floor and then getting a penalty? Do you think there's a lot that needs to be changed with VAR and the ruling?
The thing is, it's never going to work because it's opinion based. You have rules, but at the same time, it's opinion based. All 5 of us can sit here, watch the same match, see exactly the same thing, and I guarantee we won't see exactly the same thing, even if the rules are plain and clear. So it's just impossible. Even like yesterday, watching the Liverpool game, when Mane was about to go and tap the ball in, the keeper just grabbed his leg, but no penalty's been given. They should have looked at it and seen it was clear that he would have got to the ball if the keeper never grabbed his leg. But it's just like they're just picking and choosing, and it's always going to go in the favour of the big teams. Like, no matter what we say, like, we're all fans of big teams here. So, my team ain't that big anymore, but yeah, we're all fans of big teams, and we all get the majority of the decisions. And like the City fan earlier, I was celebrating that City goal in the Champions League. Like, I was running around my house, and all of a sudden,
Do you know what? I love it.
VAR's called it back, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, just let it go. It doesn't matter if he's offside. Just let it go,
Good
innit?
times.
But yeah, it's adding it. It has added a tiny bit of excitement, but at the same time, it's also killed it. Because I know in the FA Cup final, when we beat Chelsea, not the last one, the one before, and Sanchez scored, it would have been ruled off for handball. So I don't know. It's a hard one. It benefits some teams and it doesn't other teams, I think. But I think it is just killing football because it takes too long to get to a decision, to be honest.
You're getting called out there, Yannicka.
Nah, it's just, that's what I'm saying. It's like you say, we can all watch the same game. And if you're like, this is why I always have, my issue is with referees, because I think you get people that are born in Liverpool, grew up in Liverpool, that say, I don't support any Merseyside team. Like, at the end of the day, when you go to school, like as a Mancunian, when I went to school, it was red or blue. Doesn't matter if you support Arsenal, you're going to have a preference for Man United or Man City. So most Arsenal fans would prefer City over United. You know what I mean? My sister hates football. She doesn't watch football. She hates it. And she just hates Man United. She doesn't support a team. She just hates Man United. Because like my mum was Liverpool and my dad's City. So in our household, Man United wasn't an option. Do you know what I mean? And like even when I was a kid, like before I really got into football, like I just used to see like David Beckham on the TV and I just didn't like him. Like there was just something about him that I just didn't like. And, you know, it was just, I don't know. It's just, I don't think you can be a referee and say, oh, I didn't grow up supporting a team, because you're interested in football enough to become a referee. So clearly when you were growing up, you had a preference for a certain team.
The thing is, they usually support like lower league teams. That's why they're allowed to, they say that.
They say that.
Never know. How would you ever know? Like there wasn't social media when these guys were young, so we would never know who they really supported. Yeah. Now you just get on someone's social media and then you just see all their posts and be like, he supports Arsenal, she supports Man City, and you should be able to you get to your conclusion a lot quicker than these refs. Sometimes I do feel like refs, they have unconscious bias because, you know, they sort of have in their head, say, I don't know, Sterling's a diver, or that Grealish always gets fouled, and they give decisions off the basis of that. And to say that they don't have unconscious bias is just a lie, because we all do. Like, regardless of what anyone says, we all have it, even if we don't know. And that's the whole point of an unconscious bias. You don't know it's there until someone shows you it's there. You won't know it's there. So yeah, I think it's a bit. I do see decisions. I think, come on, like that's a bit dubious. Come on, you are cheating, but
I think some referees have shown that they are biased against teams. Anthony Taylor is probably one of the biggest. And there we go, Mike Dean, another one, literally. Like Mike Dean and Anthony Taylor are the worst. When I see
everyone hates Mike Dean.
When I see Chelsea have Mike Dean or Anthony Taylor, I'm like, shit, we're losing this game. Thank you. Yep, just chuck the other team a penalty, why don't you? Like, but it's not like anything personal against them, but their decisions don't particularly statistically go well against my team. So personally, I'd rather them not referee my team.
Mike Dean does it for the fame, doesn't he? You know, you've seen all those funny things he does on the field and that, you know, like, have you ever seen
Mike Dean's a twat. Like that's
Mike Dean is not a Spurs fan either. I just want to throw it out there, because when we have him and we have him as our ref, I actually worry. I genuinely worry.
I heard he sleeps
who was
at
the
White
ref
Hart
in
Lane,
the-
man.
No, right. I'll have this conversation another time. But who was the ref in the Battle of the Bridge? Who remembers that ref? Who was it? It's gonna bother me now. I can't remember who the ref was, right? But oh my god, he even came out and said that he didn't give red cards. He doesn't love us. I'll throw that out there. He honestly gives up more against us because people say this. This is why I think it's.
He's got to hide it though, isn't he? He's got to hide
Yeah,
it.
that's
He can't be-
Yeah. He's got to be
too
harsher with you
obvious.
if he's a Spurs fan in secret. He's got to be really harsh
Well,
to
he's
you.
really
so, like,
harsh. But anyway.
Yeah, but that's probably because he's a
the
secret
ref in the
Spurs
Battle of the
fan.
Bridge.
Clattenburg, that's it.
there we
Clattenburg.
go. Oh my god, he came out and said that he didn't give a red card to us because he wanted us to fail on our own and didn't want us to say that
But he's just
we
so
got a red
arrogant
card
anyway, though.
in that game.
He's so
But
arrogant.
he's an-
The way he talks
yeah,
to people
So if
literally.
you
as
go read that
well, like-
report, oh my god, I was like, are you serious? So during that Battle of the Bridge, he said he could have given about 5 or 6 red cards and he didn't because he didn't want us to have an excuse as to why we lost that game.
I like him, man.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Because I think, like, Anthony Taylor, I think it is. He's from Manchester. His whole family are Man United season ticket holders, and he's like, I don't have any bias. And then they put him in for a Manchester derby, and it's like, I can't. It's for me. It's just like if your whole family support Man United. I'm not saying you support Man United. You can always choose a different team, but you're obviously going to have a little bit more sort of a softer feeling towards them than City, who your whole family hate, you know? So I don't know. I think I don't like this whole, he supports Accrington Stanley or whatever. No, because even if you support Accrington Stanley, when I was a kid, Man City weren't on the TV, like especially when we weren't in the Premier League. We weren't on the TV a lot. You had to watch other teams play football. So you're going to have a preference. Like for me, I never minded watching Arsenal. I wouldn't say I ever supported Arsenal. They were never a second team for me or anything like that. But I enjoyed the football that they played. You know, people like Thierry Henry. Obviously, everyone appreciated him. Do you know what I mean? But my team was Man City, and I always have only ever supported Man City. But obviously, the preference is going to be there. So it's one of them things where these referees are not, they can't be free from bias, basically. And I think I suggested a while ago that I think that they should have almost like foreign refs come in where they grew up supporting Real Madrid, because then the bias, okay, they might have watched Man United as a kid, but if you're a Real Madrid fan, you're not going to have them feelings of love towards Man United.
But the problem I have is with the Man U Chelsea game last season when Anthony Taylor, the prick, decided to referee that game. What was the score? 4-0. Who was refereeing? Anthony Taylor. Tell me you're not a Man U fan now. Don't even come for me. Like excuses, none. Don't know.
You've got it out, Frank. Shout out.
I don't like it. There's so many mistakes that Anthony. How many times have you heard Anthony Taylor controversy on Twitter, on the news, anything? Like, there's so many times he's made so many mistakes. Look at Mike Dean. Him and Anthony Taylor should just get like prime time news spots every time they're doing like a big game, because there's always controversy and there's always like big mistakes being made, and I don't like it, and it annoys the hell out of me.
Card, didn't it? Gosh, did you send him a Christmas card?
No, I sent him a bag of coal.
You know what it is as well? Like, I always think every game that I question who the ref was means that it's been refed well. You should not know who the referee is. You should go to a game, both teams should play, and you should think, oh gosh, who was the ref? Do you know what I mean? The minute you start knowing these referees by name, it means that they're doing something wrong. Because in general, when they referee a game well, no one knows who referees the game.
True.
Do you know what I mean? But they're trying to make themselves celebrities. They're not celebrities. They're referees, and they're there to do a job. And their job is to read the
They
game
have a
correctly.
family too. Let's be nice to refs. They have a family.
No,
too.
I don't care if they have a family. There's no biasness in football. Like, do your job or see. Well, yes, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, every time he's refereed a Chelsea game, there's mistakes made. This is why whenever this man's name comes up on a Chelsea match, I'm like, shit, we're gonna lose. Something bad's gonna happen.
What was the
Controversy.
score though? The last time he ref one of your games, did you say it was 4-0?
Yeah, Man U, Chelsea 4-0.
Yeah, but I'm sure it wasn't his fault that you conceded 4 goals.
I'm not saying it's all his fault, but there was 2 of them. There was 2 of them that were very, very questionable. Very
fair
questionable.
I feel
very
sorry
questionable decisions on his behalf.
I think they're
not anybody else
because they have VAR, so they don't make as many decisions as they should. And the same with linesmen or lineswomen, they don't make as many decisions as they should because they're hoping VAR is gonna pull them out of a mess if they make the wrong decision. So I think they should just go back to just refereeing the games. Like, just get rid of VAR. It hasn't really helped anyone, has it? To be honest, like, it's just all it's done is slow the game down. You can't celebrate a goal now. Literally, you could score from the halfway line, and I'll still be waiting to see how VAR can mess it up. Like, someone was just, I don't know, someone was picking their nose in the corner and they're just going to give offside or something stupid. So, like, it has killed football, and I just want them to get rid of it, to be fair, because I don't think it's worked.
So we've been talking about the worst refs. I'm pretty sure this question doesn't have an answer. Who's the best ref there is?
The best ref doesn't even ref anymore. Kalina. Remember Kalina?
Yes.
The bald guy in the European. Everybody was scared of him, so they just didn't ramp with him. Like, even if he made a bad decision, anyone was scared to say it to his face anyway. Like, if you saw the way he ref, like, people would push him, and he wouldn't even send them off. He would just push him back. Like, those days are gone, but I feel like Kalina was probably the best ref ever in the history of football. We need him.
Do you know who was also a good ref? Mark Halsey. Was it Mark Halsey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still on Twitter now, and he's really good. Like, obviously, I don't remember who refs individual games, but like his opinions, even on Twitter, seem to be on point. So, obviously retired. I think he got cancer, but he was a good.
Yeah. I actually know.
Sorry, while we're on women, I actually
know.
Oh, you know him?
I was just I actually know him. He used to ref my games when I used to play. I used to play with his son as well. He was a striker and I was the left winger. And I remember I crossed a sweet ball to his son and he like volleyed it in and he come running over to me as a ref. He refing the game. His son's playing. How biased? He come run over to me and goes, that was a brilliant best ball I've ever seen in my life. He probably was offside though, but it's his son, so he let it go. But yeah, sorry, Yannicka, carry on with
I was just gonna say, while we're on women in football, Shah Massey, she's one of the best lines people in general as well. So I just like to bring.
Sorry, I'm gonna dish your team now.
Oh, no,
Aguero should have been fined.
It's coming.
Aguero should have been fined, red carded, and sent off because him not being that, and the FA not doing anything about it says a footballer, that's a man, can put his hands on a woman and it's okay, and that's not okay. Aguero should have been fined shitloads of money because he has it anyway. He's paid for doing nothing anyway. Like, he hardly turns up at the pitch at the minute. And he doesn't get fined. No, I'm sorry, that's aggressive. Like, annoys me.
I agree with that one. I said I know it's against Arsenal, but I think they should have come back to it and done something about it because he actually physically made her
put his hands on her. Yeah, so he made her uncomfortable.
So if he would have done that to a male referee, 110%, he would have just been sent off on the spot.
Yeah,
like there wouldn't have even been any VAR or anything. And the fact that everybody's seen it, I don't feel like Aguero's done it to harm her, but he's just lost himself for a second, and he's put his hand on an official.
Yeah,
regardless if it's a male or female, should have been sent off. And
if you did that in public, you'd literally be like arrested or something for assault. But because he's Aguero, like, it's okay. The FA aren't gonna bother with him, Like, don't get me started on like, all this situation because the Sian Massey leads to Eva, and Eva just gets me mad vexed. Like, nah.
Right,
But if we
we're
want to
hitting
talk about
the
the
hour mark.
Eva subject, we can.
Go on, then. Throw it out. Throw it out.
Okay, firstly, Mourinho's career is intact. Where's Eva now? Where's Eva now? Have you heard of her? Have you seen her? I've been looking for her. I'm like, where is she? Like, this woman, she was such a talent, you know. She was such a big woman, and like she was helping these men that like were injured in football. She was the doctor of she was literally a legend of a doctor, and she'd get sexist chants, like, because she was good at her job. But if she wasn't doing her job, like, but she got sexist chants because she was helping recover all the players, you know, from our own team. Can't even justify that. Then Mourinho rips into her in front of like 30,000 people. Like, how embarrassing is that? End your career. Like, I'm sorry,
I'm not a Mourinho fan. This is fine.
I don't even care. Mourinho should not have a career right now. However much he did for Chelsea, after that incident, Mourinho's career should have been done. And that, I think that basically sums up how men and women are treated. Eva's lost her career, and Mourinho's now at Spurs managing again. Like, he went from like
his career is basically over now as well.
Yeah, I hope it is. I really do.
Seeing as we've got what's a different club in the room right now, let's just, to finish it off as well, let's just ask you where you think your teams might respectfully finish.
I hate this question. Like, I actually hate it.
I feel like the table's so so up and down at the minute. Like, what, Liverpool's, like, every single big team has dropped points. And if you look at it now, out of the big six teams at the bottom of the table, the bottom six teams, Liverpool have only been able to beat two of them. They've lost to four of the bottom six. That says something against Liverpool. You can beat the top. You can beat the top level football club, but the bottom level, Liverpool can't beat them. Like, statistically, that's poor.
Yeah, true. Did you beat a team that was 15th?
Pardon?
Did you beat a team that was 15th?
Sorry, my memory's gone a bit like...
Ouch. Oh, sorry. I apologise. My team are going to finish it. I'll say it now. Screen munch.
You're going to finish where?
Sixth. We'll finish sixth. Arsenal will finish sixth. 6.5. 6.5, actually. 6.5. Six or seven.
You know what? I would have kindly called you like ninth, and that's me being generous. Ninth.
Well, we're 6 points behind you, so.
No, but you've had two good games, and now you're all these fans are like, we can finish sixth, we can finish fourth. Nah, mate, could you actually get into the top 10 first? Like, come talk to me when you're like above me, and you're not. So, Arsenal fans, come talk to me then.
I'm saying sixth. Arsenal finished sixth. 6.5.
Can someone please screenshot this?
We'll screenshot anything you want, because you're all about the screenshot, Charlotte, and the video clipping and all that, aren't you? So
yeah, especially when by the way, just to let you know, Matt's officially an Arsenal fan now. We have a clip of it on Stephen's channel.
We have a clip of it.
Yeah, man, I've got proof. I have proof. It's on Stephen's channel, man.
Yannicka, let's move on. How do you think you're going to do in the league?
Do you know what? I just think this league is so close because, like, I've said it all season. Obviously, I have to back my team. And I was saying that, you know, I don't think it's going to be Liverpool running away with it. I thought they looked the best to win it at the time. Obviously, in recent weeks, they've started dropping points as well. I feel like our start of the season is kind of what Liverpool are going through now, where they're doing enough to win games, but they're not getting over the line. So they're getting the chances, but they're not being clinical enough. And I think everyone's kind of going through it. So I think, I don't know. I think it'll come down to maybe a manager situation. I think if you've got Klopp against Ole and it's the dying, you know, the last couple of games of the season, I think Klopp has enough to get Liverpool over the edge over Ole. And I think the same with Pep. Maybe if it's Pep or Ole. You know, I think the managers have the skill. They've been there, done that. A lot of the players have been there, done that. And I think that might get them over the edge in the end. Realistically, if we win our games in hand, obviously they're not guaranteed. But if we did win our games in hand, we're 1 point off the top. And I think the way our team are and the players that we have coming back, because obviously we've not had Aguero all season. He's been injured. He's played like I think he's played one game altogether because he just played bits. So obviously if he comes back scoring, I think also our attack, we haven't been clinical enough, full stop. And I think you're not going to get a whole team with our attacking quality going a whole season without getting more than 3 goals. Like, it's not going to happen. People like Sterling are eventually going to turn up. Mahrez, and I think we have enough to be, to be up there at the end. But I don't know whether City. It's weird because in certain games where we've been drawing, they've not looked like they want to go for the win, which to me is weird because I think with City normally you'd expect some sort of big fight at the end of the game to win it, and they're not really doing that. De Bruyne's putting chances and they're just missing it. So I don't know. I'd like to think we can challenge for the title. I think we need to be challenging for the title. But yeah, I think by the end of January, we'll have a clearer idea of who's going to win it or who can win it. But right now, if you lose one game, you're going from like 2nd to 8th, losing one game. So I think it's too close at the moment. And everyone's kind of in the title race. Everyone in this chat, apart from Arsenal.
No, Yannicka.
Yeah, apart from Arsenal.
Yannicka, you've gone around like 60,000 corners there, and you haven't given us a position. So that shows to me
where's
you're
your
not
position?
confident. You're not confident right now.
You know what? I think realistically, the way this season's gone, City should be winning the league. Whether we will or not, I don't know.
That's a big one, That's a big statement. I don't think that's going to happen, but okay.
That's what I think should happen based on, because like the last couple of seasons, it's been Liverpool and City, and I think with Liverpool's injuries and stuff, we've had injuries as well at the beginning of the season. But I think we should be winning it. Whether we win it or not, I don't know. But I think,
how are you, Yannicka? Give us a position. Just give us a position.
That's what I'm saying. I think we should finish. I think 1st or 2nd, but I think we should be finishing 1st.
There you go.
What about you, Prime? You weren't agreeing with that, but what are you saying?
Liverpool. No, I don't think City will win the league. Liverpool should still win it. They're still my favourites. I think. Arsenal, when it's all said and done, after the first 10 games, you tend to figure out roughly where you'll finish in the league. But then again, in the second half of the season, things always tend to come back and correct themselves. And Arsenal have Benfica in next round of the Champions League, or Europa League, I should say. Sorry, that's going to be tough. If you don't get past them, you should still finish 7th, which is where I originally predicted you guys to finish. Chelsea, when it's all said and done, we should still finish in the top 4 anyway, because I still think we do have another run of form to get through. And Atletico Madrid, when we get knocked out, that's going to give us an advantage in the league. United, because they have to play in the Europa and they should get to the semi-finals, they're going to drop away in this title race, as will Spurs. I think Spurs will win the Carabao Cup. And Jose will focus on the Europa League, because winning 2 trophies and finishing, 5th or something is better than winning 1 trophy and finishing 3rd.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to get back to work, so I'm going to love you and leave you all. Thank you for having me on. Nice to meet you all. If I haven't met you before, Prime, just stop now. You lot are going to get relegated as well. See you later.
What? Oh, that's how you want to end it, bro. Okay.
Elena, where you thought Tottenham were going to finish, just to wrap it up?
I hate this question. For me, I've got very different views to a lot of people. Prime already knows all this. For me, if we was to win the League Cup and finish 5th or 6th, to me that is not successful. For me, I wouldn't say just winning a League Cup and then finishing outside the top 4 is successful for Tottenham. I think top 4 is a very big hope a very big hope for us to finish within the top 4. But obviously, Jose's here to win a trophy. So if we win a trophy, that's successful. But I still think that a League Cup isn't going to elevate us the way top 4 wills. We get the money in, we'll get more players through the door. I would like to win win a cup, but if we do win the League Cup, I think we still need to finish within the top 4. I think that would be a job well done. I would like to say we could finish 4th. It's so tight, so it's anywhere near there. I would like to finish 4th or 3rd, but I do think that we need a trophy a lot this season. If we get the Europa, fair enough. Like, I cannot fault that is a amazing trophy, and you get Champions League, and it's a big European trophy, so I can't fault that. But I do not think we've got the squad to go for the Europa. I just personally don't believe in our squad, and I feel like with how long it is, the game's coming up. You've got Kane always gets a stat pad injury. I would like to win the Europa and win the League Cup. Now, I hope so. I really do hope so. But I think that we can finish 4th and win silverware. But I just feel like top 4 and silverware is a big thing for us, depending on what silverware. If it's Europa and you finish 7th, like that's fine. But I think if it's a League Cup, you definitely need that Champions League spot. So I'd like to say we could get a League Cup and finish 4th.
But Elena, you're always talking about how Jose is not the guy for the long term for your club, and I get that, but it doesn't matter. If you're going to talk about like rebuilding or whatever with a different manager, like what's his name, Marco Rose, you do need a winning mentality of trophies. And if this season you finish 4th or 5th or 6th, but you've won the Carabao Cup and the Europa, not only is that 2 trophies, you've now ended your trophy drought. And
I don't mind the Europa. I'm fine with that. I just think if it's just the League Cup, I just feel like it's not elevating us to that big winning mentality that everyone thinks it does.
No. Trust me, it is. Because
I mean,
next season for Jose, I think next season for Jose is the target to win the league.
I don't think he's making it to next season, but that's just my opinion. But I just that's just my opinion, and that's because the sustainability of the football he plays, he's going to run Kane out. Kane and Son could be injured for 3-4 months by March. I'm telling you, but the amount of games that he plays them in, because he treats every game as 90 minutes, which is fine. But when you think about it, why has he played Kane for 90 minutes against Stoke? There's a problem. Like, you're not thinking of the long term. He's not thinking after that game, which is what annoys me.
But it could be because your squad depth.
We have Vinicius. He's just not playing him. Like, our squad depth should be enough to beat Stoke. Like, I don't agree with the fact that you say we have to play Kane against Stoke. No, we don't. We don't have to play Kane against the Europa.
You shouldn't have to.
Does Daniel Levy? He loves Jose, doesn't he? Has he not always wanted him?
He has always wanted him, but I still don't think that's enough to change his ways. No one can change.
No. My point is, if Levy actually wants this to work with Jose, then he's going to have to back him next summer.
We hope so, but I don't think it'll be to the extent that Jose Mourinho wants, and I think that's when it will get bitter between the two. You got to remember, he spent 400 million at United. He's not going to get that sort of money at Tottenham.
Would you agree with that? What Indiana says?
Yeah, Spurs need.
Yes, I do.
Spurs need something. Spurs need
this
something.
season, I do, but I don't think for the long term, Jose Mourinho is not the answer for the next 5 years. I know he's only here till 2023, but I'm just saying, like, you can't get Jose Mourinho and think he's the long term fix. He's a short term fix to a long term problem, which is our trophies. He gets rid of that trophy drought, then you look further than that.
But then that's it. He is the long term fix, though.
If he can get you trophies, why can't he continue to get you trophies?
Because,
or is he?
As I say, the backing ain't going to be there. He might have the squad now to get.
But if he gets you 2 trophies, why wouldn't people back him? The fans will back him if you get. The fans will back him if you get the 2 trophies.
Great chairman, but we do not. So if he wins something, Daniel Levy will say you've done it now. You don't need much investment,
No,
do you?
I-
You managed to do it with that squad.
I
He
agree
ain't
with
gonna sit
Elena.
there and invested him. I know,
Elena-
I know my club, and I know the way we're run.
Yeah.
He don't invest to that extent, so that's why it will go sour very, very quickly.
Elena, I agree with you that he shouldn't be there long term, but however, he is the long term fix to your problem, which is
Because he's
winning
going to get rid of
trophies.
that trophy drought. I understand.
he is the
your
long-term
thing. I
problem.
just mean as in personnel.
Him
Him
yeah,
being
well,
the manager.
Well, Jose's never going to change, so
No one can
And
ever
I
make
just
him
think-
change.
I just don't like watching Kane being burnt out in games that we don't need him to be. There are, and like players that are very, very important. Kane gets very big injuries. We know this. He's had that every season since his first season. Yeah, I understand this, but I'm just saying, as in further than this season, Indiana. I'm sort of saying like further than this season. But again, I don't see how you can think that the way we're playing is going to get us a trophy. He's got a very lucky draw in the League Cup. You've got to remember, we score one goal and then we sit back. That's, to me, that's not sustainable to win stuff.
Yeah, but again, in competitions, that works.
Yes, but for a long term, over the league, over a Europa game, which is a long competition, I don't think our squad depth can hold out the way he plays.
Oh, it will. I know you're thinking long term, and that is great to see because not many fans do think long term. But for Jose, short term, whether it's to the end of the season or maybe even next season, by the time he leaves with two, or he's won
Yes,
you guys
but you
2
keep
or 3
saying
trophies.
2 trophies. I'm saying we're not going to win the Europa. That's what I'm trying to tell you here.
What other team in the Europa League?
We can
Is
lose
there
to
that's a threat?
anyone.
No, Man U aren't
Oh,
winning it.
United, no, but United are in the title.
I don't
race, so
see
no.
why you lot would say Tottenham are winning it and Man U aren't if you compare the results and where they are and why technically they've been better.
You know why? Because I think equally the squads are roughly, but in terms of the manager getting fewer competition like that, there's no better manager out there.
Okay, again, I'm telling you, without 2 players, we are nothing. Without Son and Kane and these tactics, we are nothing. So if he doesn't play them in every Europa game, we will not win that game. And I'm telling you, if Kane gets injured, we are out of the Europa.
I just want to ask Jan about what Indiana said, like, and what Pep thinks of smaller clubs or cups.
Well, he's always, since he's come here, he's kind of gone for every competition, which I like. I do like that. I am a fan of the Carabao Cup. I know everyone disses it, but I like it because I think you can win it early, and I think it pushes the players on to win other things. Obviously, I think 2 of the times we've won it. No, 3. I think 3 of the times we've won it, we've also won the league. So I think it does push you on. People don't agree with that, but I think it works.
There's also, they have oil money and spend a lot of it. We do not do that. So winning a League Cup isn't going to make us suddenly start splashing out the cash.
Well, yeah.
Isn't Abramovich to do with oil as well, but Russian oil, right?
None of your business.
Nah, we don't talk about that.
Sorry, Yannicka. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I was just gonna say, like, I think obviously we have people talk about us spending a lot of money, but the reason why we spent so much money is so we have squad depth so that we can compete.
I'm not dissing it. I would love it.
No, not you. I just mean in general, like people say City spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money. We now have enough squad depth to kind of compete in these competitions. So,
that's not my account.
I might.
But yeah, I think it's just I think it's good to go for everything. I think when City don't go for everything, it kind of, I think when we try and focus on a trophy, like focus on the Champions League, it doesn't work. I think we're better off going for everything and then prioritizing maybe later on. Obviously, if we've got an FA Cup fixture and a Champions League fixture, obviously the Champions League one is going to be the more important one. But yeah, I think we'll see. That definitely ain't going to happen.
When have City ever prioritized the Champions League?
No, I think we try to, and I think it goes badly because I think we did definitely last year. We didn't really focus on the league. it was all about the Champions League, and it backfired on us because then we went out to Lyon and then we had nothing. Whereas, and I'm scared that City, and this is what I've said at the start of the season, I think City are going to try and focus on the Champions League, and I hope we don't, because if we do, we'll probably end up not winning the league and not winning the Champions League. Whereas if we kind of go for everything, we have a chance in the league. I'm not saying we're going to win it. Like, obviously, I said we should realistically be finishing first, solely based off Liverpool's injury crisis that they had. I know they've still got a decent team there. They've still got the system, but I think, you know, if we don't win it this year, they'd be saying, well, how did City not win it when the squad is better than Liverpool's at the moment? So I think that's why we have to, but I don't think we will. I think we'll focus on the Champions League, which I hope we don't, but I think we will. And I really don't.
Focusing on it from the start of the season, that to me doesn't, like, I don't understand that, because at the start of the season you should be pushing for everything as much as you can, and then once you get to like February, March, that's when you can judge where things lie.
Yeah, I don't think it's Pep. I think it's the players that have got their eyes on it. I don't think it's Pep. Pep goes for everything. He does every season. He goes for every trophy. You see that by who he plays and stuff like that. Obviously, when we got through in the group, we started seeing a lot better from the players, because it was the players, the system, the teams that Pep put out this season. He has changed his tactics a little bit. He's made us more defensive, because last season we were a shambles at the back. So he's kind of fixed it a little bit. The players seem to be taking a little bit of a while to get used to it, and that's why we're seeing better results now than we were at the start of the season. But I just think the players want to win the Champions League, and I think if they could choose a trophy right now, obviously they're going to pick the Champions League over the league that they've all won, pretty much, apart from the newcomers. So, yeah, I would like to see us go for everything, and I think Pep will go for everything, but I just think the players have their preferences, you know, and I think it shows. It has shown in the league so far.
Elena, you're right. Have you froze or are you falling asleep there?
I was looking at something. I'm fine.
Right, well, should we wrap it up there? Like, because I know probably I'm dying for a pee. I don't know about you lot, but really, do you want to shout out all your socials? And before you do that, can I just say thank you very much for coming on and joining us today. It was a brilliant live. I've only done like 2 or 3, and it means a lot to have you all on and chat football like we just done, and it's spreading that word about women's punditry and the fact that they get abused by people online. It's not acceptable. We need to stamp that out as much as anything else. All agreed on that? Yes. Yeah. And I hope everybody watching it too. Do subscribe, share, like, and let's go and tell everybody where they can find you lot. Let's start with Charlotte first. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Charl_strong.
Brilliant. And how about you, Yannicka?
Yeah, you can find me at Twitter at Yannicka with 3 A's. I'm also on YouTube, even though there's not much on it. Yan City ENT. But you'll find me mostly on Sarcasm City. So make sure to subscribe to them. They're on the road to 2K. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to them.
What about you, Elena?
You can find me at LilyWhite_TV on Twitter and Instagram, and at LilyWhiteTV on YouTube. I do like match reviews and stuff. I've got a live planned later today with a few of the Spurs ladies. Mel's been in the comments. But yeah, we're just doing like a fun roundup of the year. But yeah, I'm going to start trying to do a few more lives on there as well. Brilliant.
Be good to see. Prime. You're on mute as well before you start speaking.
Yeah, it's my Twitter right there. Follow me on there to keep updated to different platforms and stuff that I'm on. I'm on the Terrace Chelsea show there, the best show on the Terrace. I'm on Monsters streams for Chelsea watch-alongs. KH No Filter Football, where we talk about Chelsea. I'm on here, Bits and Bob's channel, where we do Premier League wrap-up shows. I don't know, I'm everywhere really, so just keep updating.
You are everywhere.
What I do.
You
Yeah.
are literally everywhere.
Literally.
I've said this to Prime as well. I will log off and go and like I'll see someone's gone live, and he'll be there.
I didn't
Yeah,
expect him to show up
literally.
today, and he's just
Like
popped
I
up.
didn't either. Like he literally turns up. Like he'll be on one stream with me, and then I'll like go on to look at another stream, and he's on another stream. He's just there all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
how?
Prime is
Like
everywhere. You hear his
Literally.
calming voice, and you know it's Prime, innit? Like,
you
and
literally.
he's cussing you, but it's so calm.
What? I have a calm voice.
You're like, but Joseph.
Yeah, you don't rage.
Yeah, I
You
get
don't
angry.
rage.
I'm like,
You don't rage. You just
when
do it so
Arsenal fans
calmly.
reacted because we lost to Arsenal. The thing is, I knew how the season was going to go, so it didn't surprise me. So I'm not angry about it.
It's just
I
chill.
don't get
It's
angry
just chill
easily.
vibes all the time.
Yeah. When I do get angry, you'll know. But I don't get angry easily. I see Prime on the moon last week. Yeah, that was in secret though. So
He's spilling all your secrets today now.
Even the Michael Jackson, he was having a moonwalk. Let him be. All right. Yeah. Look, do you know what? I'm thinking like one day I'm going to go. I need to get off and Prime's everywhere. I'm going to put Sky Sports on and Prime's going to be there. I know.
Literally, we're all
Literally.
Oh,
No, he's everywhere. But I love seeing this guy, man, and all you
Yeah.
lot. I'm looking forward to checking out all your content today or the weekend because I know there's a lot of football coming up, isn't there? So, everyone, happy New Year! 2020's out the way. 2021.
Yeah, and you.
Hopefully, it's going to be a better one. Take care, everybody. And thank you.
Bye.